वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 11, text number 18. This is a chapter titled The Perfect Society, 4 Social Classes. Actually, this is 3 verses, 18, 19, 20. They are all combined in one shloka. So we will read that shloka in translation. कृतमृताभयं जीवेत मृतेन प्रवृतेन वा सत्यामृताभ्यामपि वा अश्वावृत्ताय कदाचन मृतं मुञ्च शैलं प्रोक्तम् अमृतं यत् अयाचितं मृतं तु नित्ययाचना स्यात् प्रमृतं कर्षणं स्मृतम् सत्यामृतं च वाणिज्यं स्वावृत्तिर्निच सेवनं वर्जयेत् तां सदा विप्रो राजन्याश्च जुगुप्सितां सर्ववेदमयो विप्रा सर्वदेवमयो नृपा. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In time of emergency, one may accept any of the various types of professions known as Rita, Amrita, Mrita, Pramrita, and Satyamrita, but one should not at any time accept the profession of a dog. The profession of Unchashila, collecting grains from the field, is called Rita. Collecting without begging is called Amrita. Begging grains is called Mrita. Tilling the ground is called Pramrita. And trade is called Satyamrita. Engaging in the service of low-grade persons, however, is called Swavriti, the profession of the dogs. Specifically, the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas should not engage in the low and abominable service of Shudras. Brahmanas should be well acquainted with all the Vedic knowledge, and Kshatriyas should be well acquainted with the worship of demigods. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. The 4 divisions of human society were created by the Supreme Lord according to the 3 modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them. Formally, the principle of dividing human society into 4 sections, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, was strictly followed. But because of gradual neglect of the Varnashrama principles, Varna Shankara population developed, and the entire institution has now been lost. In this age of Kali, practically everyone is Shudra, Kalau Shudra Sambhava. And finding anyone who is a Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya is very difficult. Although the Krishna consciousness movement is a movement of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, it is trying to re-establish the divine Varnashrama institution, for without this division of society, there cannot be peace and prosperity anywhere. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासवी गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So this particular shloka is a very direct and an important instruction for certain class of devotees or certain class of people. This whole chapter itself is describing about community development. In Purusha Sukta, there is a very nice prayer. Purusha Sukta is a prayer offered by demigods towards Lord Vishnu. The prayer goes like this. Brahmanosya mukamasid bahura janyakritaha, which means Brahmanas are mouthpiece of the Lord. Meaning, if you want to hear anything from the Lord, or if the Lord wants to say anything to us, it will be told through a Brahmana. And if you want to feed anything to the Lord, by feeding a Brahmana, the Lord will receive. It is explained that the Varnashrama society is also the form of the Lord, where Brahmanas are the Lord's lotus face, Kshatriyas are the Lord's arms, Vaishyas are the Lord's belly, and Shudras are the Lord's legs. So the Lord gives utmost importance to Brahmanas. So let us learn this particular shloka through our regular way of breaking them into multiple reflections or multiple points. The first point being Janmana Jayate Shudra. By birth, we are all Shudras. Everyone, invariably. Janmana Jayate Shudra, apart from self-realized souls, though. Samskarat iti dvija. When we perform purificatory samskaras, then he is called dvija. Dvija means twice born. Veda patat iti vipra. If anyone has studied Vedic knowledge, he is called Vipra, learned person. Brahma Janati Brahmana. One who has known about oneself, who am I, and is properly situated in that, he is a Brahmana. Knowing I am a spirit soul and I am part and parcel of the Supreme Lord's creation. So, for someone to be called as a Brahmana, three things are already established. Samskara, Veda Pada, Brahmajana. What is so special about Brahmanas? Here, whenever we hear this word Brahmanas, because of our education system, because of our social demography, because of the misconstrued ideology, our head immediately spins around caste system and higher ups and lower down mentality. But technically speaking, the word Brahmana, more than referring a type of person, Brahmana refers to a function of a person. If a person does not do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, whomever, in whichever family he may have been, he cannot be called Brahmana. He can be only called Brahma Bandhu. My father may have been a very well-known doctor, or may have been a very well-known lawyer, or may have been a very well-known scholar. I have an advantage being born in such a family. What advantage? I will be able to get access to certain way of learning, certain details of learning, certain nuances of learning easily. May it be a doctor, may it be a scholar, may it be a lawyer. But apart from that, every individual has to prove his qualification to be claiming himself as a doctor, lawyer, or a scholar. Similarly, a person, when we call him as a Brahmana, it cannot be as the current society norms are. It cannot be just a birthright. Somebody's birthright being a Brahmana means we are in Asuric Varnashrama. There are two types of Varnashrama. One is called Asuric Varnashrama. Second is called Dhaivik Varnashrama. Asuric Varnashrama means the society is classified based on only externals, birth, appearance. Daiva Varnashrama is based on principles, functions, behavior, culture. So at least as practitioners of Srila Prabhupada, Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, we all need to learn not to see Brahmana as a caste alone, even though it is a caste. Brahmana here in our context means functionally he is active in doing certain types of function. If those functions are not done, it is simply waste of time. The function of a car is to help somebody to travel. If the car doesn't work, it doesn't move, it doesn't function, then nobody wants to sit in a broken car. So from that standpoint, our devotional life we need to understand we are functionally devotees, consciously devotees, culturally devotees, intentionally devotees, not externally devotees. So my first reflection in this current context is all of us, unfortunately, most of us, we get colored, we get carried away, we get influenced by the society and start to superimpose those feelings upon us or upon our surroundings. A matured devotee, a self-realized devotee does not do that. So, number one realization in this current context is a person, unless and otherwise, he is functionally, culturally, intentionally, and his definitely in his conduct wise. If he is not a devotee or if he is not having the functions of a Brahmana, then all he can get the title as Brahma Bandhu. And Prabhupada uses the word called Varna Shankara, means unwanted population. Those who are not subscribing to the principles of Varnashrama and those who have not gone through the stages of samskara, those who have not been through the stages of education, they are all called Varna Shankaras. So, as a basic understanding, let us get to this knowledge of knowing that I can be only a Brahmana if I behave like one. What are the behaviors of Brahmana is supposed to be? Patan, Patan, Yajan, Yajan. So, it is very important that we learn to know the functions of a Brahmana. Patana means one who is learned. Patana means one who is teaching. He should help others to learn. Yajan means one who performs yajna. Yajan means one who helps others perform yajna. Dana means one who is helping others in terms of by giving in charity, either through knowledge or through some ways. Pratigraha means one who is ready to accept charity. So like that, Brahmana's function, Brahmana's qualification are listed in various places. Sat karma nipuno vipra. What does that mean? Vipra means learned person. Nipuno vipra means one who is a very expert Brahmana. Vipra means Brahmana or Pandita. Nipuno vipra means that person who has got expertness. Sat karma. What is the sat karma? Patan, Patan, Yajan, Yajan, Dana, Pratigraha. The 6 types of activities, he need to be expert. We had a devotee in our congregation. He was sharing his funny story. He is from a South Indian Brahmin Parivar. One day he was performing the Shraddha ceremony for his mother. I am talking about 15 years before. He was performing Shraddha ceremony for his mother. His father is alive, was alive then. So this Brahman, so-called Smartha Brahman, he came and he kind of performed the Brahman, the Sraddha ceremony without knowing, without realizing what he was doing. This guy was doing the Shraddha ceremony for the father instead of mother. Incidentally, the father knew certain mantras, so he came running out and said, "Hey, I am alive. Don't do Shraddha for me. Do it for your mother." So nowadays, Brahmanas are naam ke vaste, just for name's sake. They happen to be practicing Brahminical activities. So hence my first reflection is to highlight that as a Brahmana, as an individual, one should know that Brahmana is not a title, Brahmana is not a birthright, Brahmana is a function one should uphold. Second aspect of it that Srila Prabhupada writes in this, purport, he says that Maya Srishtam, in the purport, Prabhupada quotes the Bhagavad Gita verse. This caste division based on Varnashrama Dharma, Daiva Varnashrama, is Maya Srishtam. Maya Srishtam means Krishna says, it is my creation, it is my endeavor, it is my arrangement. So the way the system works is, there are 5 different ways of people doing their activities. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya or Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So there are 5 different ways or 5 different focus. A person, when he is doing some activities, they have got different focus. Everyone focuses on different things. A Brahmana focuses on Vijnanamaya and Jnanamaya. Vijnanamaya means he is focusing on realizing, I am not this body but spirit soul. To realize that I am not this body, to realize this Brahma Bhuta realization, the Brahmana is ready to forego power, money, position, all comforts, and he would like to spend all of them to buy time so that he can focus on his Brahma Bhuta realization. As I said, multiple focus. A Brahmana's focus has always been Vijnanamaya. Vijnanamaya means he is ready to spend the hard-earned money, ready to forego the powerful position, ready to compromise all the comforts if he is able to perform self-realization. That is why a Brahmana is conscious about his time. The time where he invests, how he invests, he is very conscious. Second is Manomaya or Jnanamaya. Those who are focusing on Manomaya, Jnanamaya, they are all focusing on religious quest, asking religious question, searching for religious truth so that dharma can be established. This is generally the duty of a kshatriya. As Prabhupada writes in this purport, Srila Prabhupada says, a kshatriya should be well acquainted with worship of demigods. That's the translation, right? So from that standpoint, a person who is having the focus of establishing righteousness, implementing the principles of religiosity, upholding dharma in the society, being the caretaker of righteousness in the society, that person is a kshatriya. Third, so this kshatriya or a person with kshatriya mentality, what he will do for his power, for his position, he will ready to do anything. For him to acquire power, for him to acquire position, he will be ready to spend time, he will be ready to spend money, he will be ready to compromise comfort. This is second category. Third category is pranamaya. Pranamaya means those are the people who are continuously thinking on economic development and sustenance of the society. They will be more focusing on artha vishaya, financial matters. They will be thinking about sustenance, survival. So anyone who has got such a focus is a Vaishya. A Vaishya is a person, he is ready to spend any amount of time, he is ready to compromise any power position, he is ready to compromise any amount of discomfort if he has to earn money. And the last one is called Annamaya. Is a Shudra, one who is simply interested in laborious work. His philosophy is, if I don't work, I can't be happy. If I don't work, I can't get my daily bread. I have to work for me to keep my family happy. This is called Annamaya focus. And a person who is in this Annamaya focus, for his sense gratification, for gaining the comfort for his life, he will go to any extent in spending time, spending money, and even compromising or betting on his own position. So my second reflection is that how depends upon what your focus of activities are, you are also classified. We spoke one type of classification in terms of function, who is a Brahmana, but by dividing Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, we are also trying to identify how this Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra are conditioned. A Brahmana is conditioned not to waste time. A Kshatriya is conditioned not to forego power. A Vaishya is conditioned not to forego money. A Shudra is conditioned not to forego self-gratificatory and comforts. So they will do anything under the roof to gain what they want to gain. That is why the society is currently called Shudra society, because all the Shudras, they utilize their intelligence, they utilize their money, they utilize their power to create more and more sense gratificatory avenues. It is not that a pornographic website, sex toys, some sort of social entertainment, all sorts of vulgar things. They all also need intelligence, but those intelligence are directly sensual, because all the intelligence, they could only utilize them for creating sensually exciting things. Their boundary does not go beyond that. They think if I am sensually happy, I am happily situated. But Bhagavad Gita is strictly opposite to that ideology. So hence my second reflection is that Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. What is this Anandamaya all about? We spoke about Vijnanamaya, with focus of a Brahmana, Manomaya, Jnanamaya, focus of a Kshatriya, Pranamaya, focus of a Vaishya, Annamaya, focus of a Sudra. What is Anandamaya? Anandamaya is intelligent class of men who are all called Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava could be those whose focus is simply to give happiness to everyone, and by giving happiness to everyone, he will remain happy to himself. That is why a Vaishnava is called Para Dukkha Dukhi, Para Sukha Sukhi. So Anandamaya means he is constantly in the search of real happiness, eternal happiness, permanent happiness, and he wants to distribute that happiness with everyone. So from that standpoint, it is important for us to note that our Krishna consciousness movement is a movement where we want to create Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, first class men and superlative class men. First class men are Brahmanas, superlative class men are Vaishnavas. Because his focus is situated in the right frame of mind, in the right place, in the right consciousness for glorifying the Supreme Lord. That is why a Vaishnava is always glorious and his life is always glorious. The last reflection that I want to discuss is about how in Krishna consciousness one need to understand that certain attributes in our life are not at all very good. Because if a person is trying to always search for benefits, search for profits, search for his or her own welfare, then he can't be a Brahmana. If a person is constantly searching for something that he want to enjoy, so he is not called a Brahmana. So I will mention as a part of third reflection an aspect called qualifications versus benefits. If a person is trying to acquire a qualification so that he can get the benefit, he is not a first class person. When a person acquires a qualification and he wants to distribute benefit to everyone, he is called first class person. Every practicing devotee should constantly strive to develop the necessary qualification for being a useful servant in the service of Guru and Gauranga. Why strive? Strive means endeavor. Why strive? Because this material world is not going to offer such a high esteemed position so easily. So for us to achieve that position, for us to gain that momentum, for us to be a very useful soldier in the Sankirtan movement, one should strive to develop qualification. But there's a small caveat here. Here, the agenda is not qualification. The agenda is associated intent when I acquire qualification. I'll give an example. Hiranyakashipu acquired qualification, and what he did, he started harassing all the demigods. Bhasmasura acquired qualification. What he did, he harassed Lord Shiva. So the person just having qualification, in the 7th canto earlier you all would have studied, Brahma had to sanction the boon of Hiranyakashipu, but at the time of sanctioning the boon, Brahma is saying that, my dear Hiranyakashipu, please be careful of what you are asking for, because who knows what you are thinking as something good for you could as well be your death personified, could as well be, trapping you. So hence be careful. So my third reflection is that the qualification versus benefit is never in the thought process of a Brahmana, because a Brahmana works on getting empowered and empowering others for the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So he always looked forward for empowerment, encouragement, enablement, and he does the same thing to his subordinates so that more and more souls are served. So dwelling on the benefits and rewards that we should be getting or doing devotional activities is not Brahminical. Benefits and rewards are awarded by the Lord and Vaishnavas much more than what we can comprehend. The Lord is magnanimous. The Lord is merciful. He can give much more than what we could imagine. So a Brahmana should not stoop too low. So this particular shloka is a warning to Brahmanas. Don't stoop low. You can do Rita, you can do Amrita, you can do Mrita, you can do Pramrita. But don't do Swavriti, profession of dogs. What is the profession of dogs all about? Being illoyal. Of course, dog is loyal, but it is like he's going and, just to prove a point, or just to, as Prabhupada explains in the translation, engaging in the service of low-grade persons is called the profession of dogs. So, my third reflection is that in our journey to be Krishna conscious, we should be very, very careful not to fall prey to such a slippery direction. Because a person who starts to engage in the activities along with low-grade person, Vinashakale Viparida Buddhi. Arjuna once asked the question to Krishna. Arjuna is asking, my dear Krishna, that somehow I am feeling that I am being forced by some external source. He is saying that even though I do not want to do something wrong, I am getting a feeling that I am being forced into getting it done. Who is forcing me? This was Arjuna's question. Krishna is saying that it is your lust in the heart. It is saying the kama is the root cause of these behaviors. When kama is fulfilled, it will become lobha, greed. When the kama is not fulfilled, it will become krodha, anger. So from that standpoint, it is to be noted that a Brahmana should not stoop too low. If he stoops too low, then only God can help him. Because he is compromising his most important service of giving direction to the society. So, I want to conclude my third reflection by saying that as a responsible practitioners, we should make sure that we uphold our prescribed duties by knowing what varna I belong, what ashrama I belong. I need to align myself, my thought process, my functions, my duty, my associations, and everything need to be aligned. And we all contribute for the betterment of the society. So in our Krishna consciousness movement, when Srila Prabhupada started, Srila Prabhupada saw there was so much of chaos, so much of confusion, so much of mayhem. So he thought that if I start Varnashrama project, nobody will have brains to participate. So he started Harinam Sankirtana project. By performing Harinam Sankirtana, by giving Srimad Bhagavatam, by distributing Prashadam, by engaging all those hippies into service, by trying to establish Bhagavata Dharma, Srila Prabhupada has established a framework, and Varnashrama Dharma could be the subset of Bhagavata Dharma. So, Bhagavan, if somebody does some dharmic activities without Bhagavan in the picture, then that activity is simply waste of time. Dharmasya anustita pumsa visvakshena katasuyah natat padayati ratim shramayevahi kevalam. So, hence the third reflection I want to say is to say that at no point in time a Brahmana should stoop too low to a situation that his life becomes a mockery. And we have plenty of examples who have done that. And the classic one is Ajamila, who has slipped away from his Brahminical responsibilities. So when such action happens, then he becomes Varna Shankara, unwanted population. Another example is King Vena. He is from Dhruva Maharaj's lineage, but somehow he was behaving like a rascal. So we can go on giving so many examples, but it is imperative that one need to raise up and try to protect. So Prabhupada, what did he do? He established Bhagavata Dharma, but requested his followers to somehow or other try to revive Varnashrama Dharma. And he even gave the title Daiva Varnashrama. So many times within ISKCON or even outside, when people hear about the word Varnashrama, they try to immediately jump into duties. They try to immediately try to go buy a land, buy a cow, buy a farm, buy this, buy that. Those are all part of Varnashrama, but very importantly, be it identify a Brahmana. A Varnashrama society will not function unless there is a Brahmana towards whom we have respect. It will not function if there is no Kshatriya, because the Kshatriya will be able to implement policies as directed by a Brahmana, which will in turn help us. So without Kshatriya and Brahmana, a society will be like a headless chicken. So hence, without even having an understanding that I need to create a Brahmana and Kshatriya jumping into Varnashrama project, jumping and thinking that I am trying to do something for Varnashrama Dharma, it is only going to be a joke. So that is why Prabhupada says that my students, my future students, will write purports to my purport and try to uphold, try to fulfill the left alone or the promises or the commitment or the projects that I couldn't complete. So I want to wrap up the discussion by saying three sets of things. The first set of things is about how the Brahmana is Satkarma Nipuno. He is expert in 6 things. So Brahmana is not just a caste, is not just an external symbol. The Brahmana is a function. And second thing is, we discussed about the focus of a 4 classes of society, how Brahmana focuses on Vedanta, Brahmabhuta, Kshatriya focuses on righteousness, religiosity, upholding Dharma. The Vaishya is focusing on Artha Shastra, how to make money, multiply money, and Shudra is constantly thinking about his sensual things. There are other members of the society, like women, children. There are other things that are going to be explained by Narada Muni to Maharaj Yudhishthira, but in this current context, it is highly mentioned, which is my third reflection, how a Brahmana should not stoop too low and get into those types of activities which are otherwise seen as activities of a lower consciousness person. So when somebody comes down to that level, stoops too low, then he can no longer be called as a Brahmana, but can be called as Brahmabandhu. So Prabhupada wanted to set up International Society for Krishna Consciousness as a Brahminical society. The reason Prabhupada wanted us to be a Brahminical society, not that Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and Sudras are waste. They are all equally important part of the Varnashrama ecosystem, but without a Brahmana, they are useless. Without direction, everything else is useless. Without having some intellectual understanding about the aspects of life, everything else is useless. So Prabhupada said that we are creating Brahmanas. In our initial books, Elevation to Krishna Consciousness, Natural Gift, if you read those books, Prabhupada will be proud to claim how he is creating first-class men, how he is creating those who are able to give directions to the lost ones. So it is important for us to note that in our devotional life, we need to learn to become Brahmanas. We need to learn to follow Brahmanas. We need to learn to protect the Brahmanas because Brahmanas are Krishna's mouthpiece. So, in this particular shloka, the abominable, the non-agreeable activities are discussed, and unfortunately, in the modern world, we are all very much doing this. The irony is, now Brahmanas are in the most, degraded functions also, sometimes to the extent of being a chowkidar, being a chef, cooking pork, cooking, beef. I had friends who are born in Brahmin family, but they wanted to, become chefs. So for becoming a chef, they compromised their principles of being a Brahmana and did all nonsenses. So Krishna consciousness movement is a solution to Krishna consciousness movement. By the help of Srila Prabhupada, we are trying to revive. We are trying to revive this Varnashrama Dharma. We are trying to bring people back to their devotional glory which they have lost over the period of time. So we will all take some responsibilities, recognize which Varna I belong to, take help of Shastras, Bhagavatam, apply them in our lives, keep Krishna in the center, and try to respect other Varnas and try to create a very healthy, happy society and establish what we call as Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Hare Krishna, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nita Gaura Premanande, Hare Hare Bo. Any questions, comments, reflections? I'm happy to respond.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Danda Pranam. All goes to Sri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
It was such a nice class in detailing about the positions and the duties of the four social orders and the relationship with the, and the position of the Vaishnavas also, and what they shouldn't do, and how their mental makeup is in terms of the five koshas. So it was very interesting to that the five koshas principle could be applied in the in of course it is apply it can be generally applied in psychology, and this psychology psychophysical characteristics is what defines the social orders. Yes, it was very good to reflect upon that the lowest grade, the Annamaya is sense gratification, and Anandamaya is the fifth level, which is the Vaishnavas. Anandamaya Bhasya there is so nice. And yes, you nicely summed it up that Notpade Jadiratim Samaye Vahi Kevalam. So the purpose is to achieve Krishna Bhakti. And one thing, Prabhu, is that Kshatriya should be acquainted with the worship of demigod. I'm sorry if I didn't follow it. Brahmanas did do the demigod worship. But they carry the Salagram Sila. So their Aradha is Narayan. But they do demigod as the hota, as the hota of Yajaman Kshatriya. Is this correct?
So basically, yeah, right. Brahmana does respect these demigods, but protecting the oblations, the rituals, and all those things, it is a duty of a Kshatriya. It is like this: Brahmana is the consultant, Kshatriya is the authority. So it is like under the direction of a Brahmana, a Kshatriya decides, like for example, festival, ceremony, Rathayatra, Mahotsava, they are all supposed to be organized by Kshatriya under the direction of a Brahmana. To that extent, Brahmana is participating, but the ownership is with Kshatriya. So that is why demigods are part of every rituals. Rituals right from protecting the land, protecting the disha, protecting the animals, protecting the society, protecting from flood, famine. So there are so many oblations needs to be given time to time on a regular basis. Those are all done by a Kshatriya in general. So that is why it is like paying taxes. Why worshipping demigods? Satisfy them because they are providing you some things. So in our modern day language, it is like authority who imposes tax and who is responsible for collecting tax. If they are not collecting, then they are punishing those people who are defaulters. So Kshatriyas had those duties. Making sense?
Yes, Prabhu, yes. So yeah. So nowadays there is.
So Brahmanas, what they do is that they do Sandhya Vandanam. They do 3 times. They do prayers to Gayatri Mata. They do prayers to some ritualistic procedures, so that they are able to uphold their righteousness and uphold the dharmic values of being a Brahmana. Because a Brahmana should be, as I said, Satkarma Nipuno. He should be 6 types of activities. He should be very expert. Patan, Patan. How will I teach? I cannot teach only one type of people. I should be able to teach all types of people. Or there are situations where Brahmanas took the responsibility of a Kshatriya also. When there is no able king, or if the king is not in a healthy state, then those period a Brahmana used to be knowing how to rule. So typically a Brahmana is a very expert person who can take any role on any issues, but he does not exercise them unless and otherwise it is extremely necessary. So it's a very intelligent position though.
Yes, yes. And nowadays, yeah, the legs are ruling the society. No head. So we are in a headless society. Very difficult
Very
situation.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for your kind words. If there are any more reflections, comments from anyone else, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So your was an Acadian and your analysis is so pointed and sharp with so it clears all the doubts. Very wonderful.
Almost Prabhupada. Almost Prabhupada.
Grace us with your association more and more. Haribo.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble reverence. Thank all Guru Shri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful explanation with the, we can say, the out of box or maybe additional qualities which we need to pay attention, as even Partha Prabhu mentioned just now, like legs are controlling and no heads, so that I really echo to that. But it was really the qualities which we generally, it's not restricted only Brahmana has to do his sadhana or just worship in the temple, but these are various different things one has to be really attentive of. Thank you for this knowledge, Hare Krishna. As always, your classes are nice, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Always Prabhupada. Always Prabhupada.
Yes, always.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for taking your time. And I heard you from Navi Mumbai. Is from the new temple you stay there?
Yeah, I stay close to temple.
Oh, okay, very nice. I saw the inauguration, very nice. You guys did a very good job.
Thank you so much. You are welcome. So thanks to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, it is absolutely His mercy that you are all seeing. We are all just some squirrels jumping here and there. It's all Gopal Krishna Maharaj and his spiritual potency that helped us. Of course, we are missing him dearly, but then every bit of it is His mercy.
Yeah, that's very nice. And definitely we'll visit the temple soon.
Sure, we are at your service, Prabhu. Just let us know when you're around and there's something that we can do. You can get in touch with me.
Yeah, I heard you have a good accommodation as well.
Yes, now we have a guest house, so I'm sure there will be demand, but things can be worked out.
Good. And in today's lectures, I really learned many things, and I'm enjoying it. So good in the way you explain all this Agyan Maya, Gyan Maya, Vigyan Maya, all those things. Maya, I think Maya. So those things are very interesting, and I never thought about all
Thank you
this.
for your kind words.
Yeah. So once somebody like you, knowledgeable, start explaining, then they say, "Oh, it makes sense." It's interesting. So good. I'm very thankful, and hopefully we get a chance to teach us again.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thanks for your kind words, always, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for this lecture class and explaining these 3 verses with that 4 Varnashrama Dharma. And Prabhuji, in sentence you was explaining that a Brahmana or a person or a devotee who is always thinking benefits of self is not a first class Brahmana, and the person devotee who is so. Can you explain a little bit more? Or
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You caught the very important point of the entire
And
class.
do you have any reference for that, Prabhuji? So that yeah, I can.
Yeah, everything has so many references. The idea is that it is not wrong about enjoying the benefits, but dwelling on the benefits and dwelling on that I'm going to get the reward and try to do something is not Brahminical. I'll tell you a story. Raghunath Das Goswami always wanted to do something for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or always wanted to join him. But Raghunath Das Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, don't take decision in haste. You wait, I will tell you. Raghunath Das Goswami's dad made him grahastha, tried all his luck to keep him happy in the materialistic life, but Raghunath Das Goswami wouldn't settle in. He always wanted to be devotee. So finally, fast forwarding his life, finally he came to Jagannath Puri, and his parents had sent him a lot of gold coins. He spent all the gold coins and gave it in charity. So finally, he started to beg in front of Singadwara in Jagannath Puri. So what happened was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, some of the disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went and told him, Mahaprabhu, do you know Raghunath Das Goswami is begging in front of Singadwara? So Mahaprabhu said, very nice. That's a sign of a sadhu. So after 1 week, he was not there. Then Mahaprabhu asked, hey, you guys said that Raghunath Das Goswami is begging in front of Singadwara. I couldn't see him. He said that he felt ashamed of begging because every time when he is standing for begging, he is seeing every other person as a prospective guy who may put arms to him. So he felt like a prostitute. So he gave up that and went to the rear side of the kitchen in Jagannath temple, and whatever rice that is washed away from the kitchen, he collects them, cooks them and eats. Mahaprabhu said, wonderful. So the story goes further. But the point I want to drive home is, a person who dwells on the results, rather than we should dwell on the mercy coming our way, we should dwell on the intent I need to hold when I do devotion service. I can dwell on what I need to do to qualify myself. But if I say, I will do it only if the result is available, I do only for the result, I only dwell on when will I get this, that is not first class, that is not Brahminical. A Brahmana is never, that is why Chanakya Pandita, when he was the advisor to Chandragupta Maurya, Chandragupta told that I will give you as much money as you want. You stay with me only. Chanakya Pandita said, no, I will not take 1 rupee also from you. Because if I take money from you, then I have to favor you. If I am a Brahmana, if I have to speak the truth, I have to be clean in my dealings. So I will not take money from you so that I can give you advice. I can give you directions without any strings attached. Which means Brahmana thinks of benefit not for oneself. Brahmana thinks the benefit of others, welfare for others, Sukh Chintak of everyone. That is a Brahmana, that is first class. Remaining all the other classes are second class. The reason is they are thinking they had some selfishness. A Brahmana is absolutely selfless. That is why a Brahmana's possession, a Brahmana's livelihood, a Brahmana's profession, they are all noble. In those days, when Varnashrama system used to be there, a Brahmana never used to book any hotel to stay. He used to just go any house, he will ask, he is let in, no charges. He is looked after, he is fed sumptuously, he is given charity, but he accepts only that much he requires and leaves everything or gives away everything and moves on. So that way he is never attached and always merciful. That is why I mentioned this point, that those who are constantly dwelling on awards and rewards cannot have first class Brahminical mentality. Making sense, Mataji?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, explaining again very nicely. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So,
Okay, there are no further questions,
yeah.
then probably we
Question
can
and a comment, we can end up the call. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्रीनिवास ठाकुर की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हिज ग्रेस राम गिरधारी प्रभु जी की जय।
Jai.
थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.